Here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be with you today. Again, excuse my croaky voice. I hope you don't mind it. But I want to spend a little bit of time with you today discussing what I think is a really important issue, which is how we can get paid what we're worth in our weekend business. Would you like that? I want you to consider for a second what you feel you are genuinely worth in your weekend business. And I'm not just talking, we need to be clear on this. Many of us make a terrible mistake, don't we, of undervaluing ourselves. And as a consequence, when we undervalue ourselves, we devalue our contributions. We don't play seriously. We don't keep our commitments. And we end up dropping the ball in many ways as a consequence. So I'm going to share 5 points that I think, and I'd encourage you to make some notes. Of course, this is being recorded. I apologize for the background noise, which I am confident will disappear in just a second. But everyone just arrived home from school as I started recording. So it got noisy. Like I said, this is an hour earlier than our usual time because we put the clocks back. So I want to talk about 5 things that will help us get what we are worth in our weekend business. Again, I'd encourage you to take notes, watch the call over and over, but I want you to set some goals around this because I am confident that everyone on this call will be listening right now and thinking to themselves, I would like to get paid what I'm worth. Yeah. So the first one, step 1, is to work on our own success mindset. I think this is really important. This is, and I would suggest that this is first and foremost for a reason, because I have found that everything that we achieve in life is often the consequence of our mindset, of our own attitude. And if we can get our attitude in the right place, it is remarkable what follows as a consequence. I've traveled now to over 20 countries with Niken, over 30 countries in my network marketing history. And in every country that I've been in, I've asked this question at one point or another. What would you say is the biggest stumbling block to your success in Niken? Now, I asked this a lot of the time when I was in the corporate office. And I share this deliberately because when I was in the corporate office, I would be bombarded with all these different reasons as to why someone may or may not be achieving the results that they wanted. Shipping prices were too high, or delivery times were too slow, or the website wasn't working properly, or we didn't have this tool or that tool. And we would get everything thrown at me. And some of these reasons, of course, we want to make sure are being worked on. The company always strives to work on these things. But this is my point. When I asked the question, what is the number one reason that holds you back in your business? Everyone always agreed it was their belief in themselves. It's interesting that, isn't it? How our own self-belief can help or hinder our achievement and success in the business, regardless of our environment, regardless of our tools, regardless of the support system, regardless of many other things that can be internal or external factors. That number one thing really trumps everything. Dave Johnson just made a comment. Many people in the workforce aren't being paid what they are worth because there aren't minimum wage laws. It's interesting that you say that. But I'll give you another example. Again, this is an example of when I was an employer. I had a lady that came and interviewed for me. I wanted to have someone that was Dutch speaking in our customer services department. She was of Dutch origin. She spoke, I think, 3 or 4 languages. She had a master's degree in European law and had a host of other credentials that just knocked your socks off. She was incredible. But she was going for a job that was far beneath what she was capable or qualified to do. If she'd have come to me in another capacity, I would have been willing to pay her more than double what she was asking for that position. It's remarkable, isn't it? How sometimes people will go for jobs or positions that far devalue what they are actually worth. So it's important that we are able to spend time in elevating our mindsets so that we can believe in ourselves more and believe in what we're offering more. I think this is important for a couple of reasons. One, when we recognize the value of who we are in our business, when we understand our own sense of worth, the knock-on effect of that is that we then see worth in what we are offering. Have you ever sat there and found worth in what someone else in Niken is offering and felt that it doesn't match you? Perhaps when you were in Toronto, you saw some of the speakers on stage and thought, well, if I was listening to them, I'd join them. But if I was listening to me, maybe not. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever had that hold you back? The reality is, it's very important for each of us to get that mindset, again, that we nurture and foster and develop, that says, I am worth something real special. I would suggest that we devote time every day to nurturing that, because, as it has been said, our mind is like a field. We harvest what we plant. So we want to make sure that the weeds that naturally grow, we have spent enough time each day pulling them out and replacing those weeds with nice, fresh seeds that we nurture and cultivate so that we can bear fruit in the healthy garden of our own mind. So step number one is most definitely work on our own mind, our success mindset. I think Dave Johnson, who I see in my top left-hand corner here on my screen, is a master example of working on the success mindset. Every time I speak to him, he can quote left, right, and center on every subject we're discussing, because you can see the bookshelves behind him. He's read them all. He is constantly feeding his mind with success-focused messaging. It keeps him focused, it keeps him positive, it keeps him upbeat, and as a consequence, great things have happened in his life. So I think that's a starting point for each of us. The second point that I would suggest as we move on from that, and these of course will work, we don't do one and then move to step two and then move to step three. I think we need to do all of these simultaneously, but we need to get them into our mindset and into our behavior as soon as possible. The second one is that we walk our talk. We need to put our energy into this. If we are owning the fact that we are worth something, then it's important that we change our posture. So much of our success can come down to our posture with other people. And it's remarkable, something as simple as body language and tone of voice, eye contact. What that can do with someone when you give them a firm handshake, you look them in the eyes, you stand up tall, you square your shoulders, and with confidence and with optimism and with conviction, you share your opportunity. Now, sometimes that will take practice. And I want to reassure you that there's been plenty of times in my life and in my career where I have been petrified of certain tasks that have befallen me. And I've gone, okay, stand up straight, square my shoulders, look them in the eye, let's go do this, act confident. And inside, I might have been super nervous, but I don't think anyone would have seen. I hope they wouldn't. Now, is that fake it till you make it? Is that wrong to do? What do you think? I want you to know it's not. I think we need to practice becoming the person we desire to be until we eventually become it. If we want to become, as the humans being more phrase suggests, if we want to become more, it doesn't happen in a moment, and it doesn't happen with some type of immediate transition, like moving from one room to the next in a house. You don't enter another room of your life, metaphorically speaking, suddenly transformed into someone else. The process of becoming is evolutionary, and it requires practice, patience, and perseverance. So please don't think you're being insincere or being fake whilst you practice being a more confident, optimistic, full of conviction, full of hope, full of tenacity, full of courage consultant as you go out there and speak to others. Because that's certainly not being insincere at all. It's the process, the very act of becoming that you're engaged in. And that is something that I believe is where the true gold of our characters is manifest. Because to me, that's what courage is. It's not the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Yeah. And so I think that's important to consider. In the process of this, we want to change how we think. This is step number 3. Change how you think about what you're offering other people. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, as we start to adapt this positive mindset, as we start to understand that I am of worth and what I am about is something that people can connect with and resonate with, as I start to think that way, it will transform my perspective of what I'm offering with Nikan. Let me elaborate. What this means is, rather than being nervous about offering someone the Nikan opportunity, rather than being fearful because I haven't had the big paycheck that I want yet, or I haven't hit a certain milestone in the compensation plan that I want to yet, so am I qualified to speak on this particular subject? First of all, the answer is yes. Yes, you are qualified. But secondly, we need to appreciate that what we offer people is empowering to them. And that leads me to step number 4. Know that what you're offering empowers others. When we realize that, when we understand the significance of what we truly offer others, and this is where it's good to take some time out and reflect for a few minutes, or maybe for an evening or a morning when you do some meditation, or when you're on a morning walk, but wherever it might be where you clear the cobwebs. Enjoy what we're experiencing now, which is this brisk coming on, this brisk autumn air that we've got here in England. It's freezing outside now. When you've got that experience to reflect and to step away and just to contemplate, I want you to spend some time thinking about what is really on offer with Nikan. What does it really mean when we have the opportunity to have residual income? To have income coming in month after month, regardless of what you may personally be doing. I'm not saying that we step back, because I've never been an advocate of stepping back in network marketing. But what I'm saying is, when we get a machine working, when the team is together and building as a team, what that means is we have a machine that works independently of any one individual. There is huge power in that. What that means is, even though I'm busy working, when I go to bed tonight, there's going to be someone else in some other time zone in my business that's still building, that's extending invitations to a meeting that's coming up, that's just sold product to a customer, that's just recruited another person, that's preparing to rank advance. You see the power in that? You can literally earn money while you sleep in Nikan. That's huge. Now, what does that do to your lifestyle? When all of a sudden you've got freedom and flexibility, when you don't have to worry about saving your hours for when you take a holiday, or making sure that it doesn't conflict with some other person's schedule that you work with in order to get the job done in the office. Because when you're your own boss and you've got a team that's working around you, you've got flexibility there to make better choices, more convenient choices. I'm not suggesting that we become selfish in our behavior, but what I'm saying is the freedom and liberation that comes with residual income, with success in Nikan, equals the opportunity and the privilege to put into priority the things that matter most in your life. I get to do things like school runs with my kids now. I didn't always get the chance to do that before, but that's really important to them. I get to do things like cook the dinner for the kids now. I was not always able to do that before. These are little things to me that make a difference to my family, because my family is the thing that matters most for me. And I build my Nikan business for their safety net, for their security, and for their future. This is what we have to offer in Nikan. So if we think about this, hopefully this changes our mindset and our posture when we go out to talk to others, and we recognize, as I said with step number 4, what we're offering other people empowers them to improve their lives and have a better, more enriching life experience, physically, emotionally, with their family, in their community, and in their financial pillar, across those 5 areas. These are huge benefits. It's interesting in the UK right now, and I'll share this as a final point before I move on to step 5, in regards to empowering others. In the UK right now, yesterday, our budget was released by Parliament, sharing what they're going to be spending the taxpayer dollars on, and the things that they felt were really, really important. Do you know one of the things that came out in the budget, which I think is fascinating? They're adding a certain amount of money to every single school and every single hospital in the United Kingdom for mental health support. Meaning if you rush into A&E, you've had a car accident and you're feeling a little traumatized, there's mental health professionals that can immediately be there to talk to you and discuss how you're feeling and help you navigate the emotional impact of that trauma. But they're also bringing it into every school because they've identified that there's a mental health epidemic taking place. And it's being introduced at a school level, funds and resources to support that and to address it and confront it. I think that's a significant statement by a country about the direction that the next generation, the challenges the next generation are immediately facing, but of course what they're going to be confronted with as time goes on if we don't play our part. Do you see how we can empower people's lives by offering them additional income streams, additional opportunities to take responsibility for their own finances, to make better choices, to have more chance for personal freedom, to get some of the stresses and challenges of life into balance and be able to spend more time with their children so that they aren't so stressed, panicked, overwhelmed, depressed? I think this is huge. We have a significant opportunity here. The more we understand and take time to reflect on that, the better we are positioned to posture ourselves with strength and to go out and recruit both successfully and with greater conviction. The 5th and final point that I want to talk about is really important: to set standards. We need to decide what kind of work we are and not available for doing. What does that mean? It means we want to commit to a standard of excellence that is a commitment for us that no matter what, we will perform at a certain level. This means if I'm going to set a goal to talk to X number of people in a week, pull out my contact list and start making phone calls and setting appointments, that I keep that commitment. Unfortunately, in my mentoring experience in the field, I have seen it happen too many times where people have made commitments about how many people they'll talk to, how many invitations they'll set, how many ABCs they'll schedule, how many customers that they will gather throughout the course of a particular month in order to achieve their personal goals, only for, in the follow-up, for me to discover that they haven't kept those commitments. Unfortunately, too many of us make and break our own personal commitments. And this, unfortunately, negatively impacts on step number 1, our success mindset. Because what it does is we get a little subconscious, non-vocular voice. We don't always hear the words, but we speak them without the words, so to speak, through our emotions. When we break our commitments to ourselves, over time, we say to ourselves, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. Look at me. I'm always late. I don't say the right thing. I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't plan properly for that. I said I was going to keep this commitment and I didn't. And now I have to go back and tell such and such some other reason as to why I didn't keep my commitment. And over time, it erodes our self-confidence. So it's very important as we talk about feeding our mind to create a better success mindset. One of the best ways to do that is to apply step number 5, to set a standard of behavior and activity that represents excellence in our personal conduct. I would suggest that we write it down, that we laminate it, and that we stick it somewhere visible in our office, in our fridge, on our mirror, in our bathroom, somewhere where there is a visible, constant reminder that we each are committed to standards of excellence in our business that we won't compromise. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, as we do these 5 things, that we can change the results in our business. We will have different posture. We will attract more people. We will have better words because we will be feeling more confident and more optimistic. Our behavior will be more excellent and professional. And as a result, we'll have more follow-up, more follow-through, and a better consequence coming out the other end in the net results of conversion, retention, and activation of our new recruits and our new customers. If that's something that you want, if you want to grow the volume, if you want to help others to achieve their goals, I would encourage you to apply these 5 steps and, of course, teach them to others in your group. I'm going to conclude the call now. The noise didn't ebb. I apologize. I think you heard it just as much as I did in the background. So I do apologize for the background noise on this occasion. I think it's probably been the worst I've ever had. So I apologize. But thank you for being with me on the call today. I hope these 5 steps have helped because I know it's really, really important for each of us to believe in ourselves a little more, to commit to better standards of excellence, and to realize that what we've got is something really, truly worthwhile. I know that to be true. And if there's anyone on this call that is struggling with that self-belief and feels that that might be their biggest hurdle, I want you to know that I do these calls and I'm in this team in the field with you because I believe in you. That's why I'm here. And if you need to have a one-on-one and a heart-to-heart to get that self-confidence where it needs to be, then please get in touch and message me so we can sort that out because you've got every reason to have confidence and conviction in who you are and what you're offering. So thank you very much. Love you lots, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you.